Bat music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that smashes you over the skull with wondrous knowledge about Tim Burton's wonderful sequel to his amazing movie that we covered last time. Yes, this is Batman Returns. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan. Niall McGowan. Oh my God, we're all ballsing up today.
This is a flub episode. This is amazing. Let's just burn it.
I'm here. I can promise knowledge. I can't promise it's going to be wondrous by any means, but there's something.
I'll
consider it wondrous. I'll consider it that.
Well, I did the Obi-Wan thing of saying almost exactly the same word there twice in a row. I felt awful, but then I thought, if it's good enough for Alec Guinness, I can get away with it. Surely, come on. I'm like the new Alec Guinness.
Yeah, got the accent and everything. It's perfect.
Yeah, of course. I've often compared to Alec Guinness. But yes, that other voice you can hear is our guest, who you may remember from Monday. If you didn't listen to Monday, go back, you weirdo. Why are you joining us now? Go and listen to that.
This is our favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, jumping around all over the place. Freaks, the lot of you. But no, it is Bat superfan Dan Kampling.
Hello again.
Hey. And this is minute 17. The minute starts with a smashing solution to Selina's predicament, and it ends with a shocking turn of events.
What a great tease. But yeah, as we mentioned last week, I was like, oh, yes, it's a great callback to what he did in the last movie when he had something hooked to the other end of his grapple gun. Just yank on that wire, and then the fun happens.
Yeah.
It's a good thing though that this actually worked out for him though, so it could have been really embarrassing if he just like the end came out again. It was just like, oh, I just got like a loose wire now. Like, I was looking so cool beforehand.
Well, then it would have pulled out and it would have hooked him somehow, or even worse, it would have hooked Selina. It's like, oh, whoops.
It might have hooked her and then pulled her towards Batman. It'd be very painful, but he could pretend like, well, I saved you, so you can't be too mad.
But it's kind of like a variation on the bat claw you get in the Arkham games. But the thing is with that's one of those ones like when you have to bat claw something is when you have to like pull off like the door to a vent or something, and it's like a proper like you have to press the square like 50 times because it's a real like Batman struggling to hoist the thing off. So it's kind of like in theory it's like, oh yeah, it's the same idea, but in practice it's like, oh, in the game. It's strenuous on you fucking getting the damn thing off. Whereas here, he's just like, nope, absolute just piece of cake. Just
Well, imagine that in the movie. Like the clown just staring at him like, what are you doing? Why are you pulling on that wire so hard? What's going on? That would have been great. And then he just turns around at the last second like, oh!
But yeah, so it took a smash to the back of the head. And down like a clown, Charlie Brown.
And we got all the debris and dust and everything settling. It's like, oh,
is that from it hitting him in the head or from the wall ripping out?
Oh, probably a bit of both, I'd imagine, really.
Yeah, because it looks like it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, there's like an old building or bricks behind that, and then they'd like put up in like another wall there, so just to make it look prettier and stuff. But of course, when you hook a line into it and pull it, it's pretty easily detached. So I'm just like, it's probably not structurally sound, but hey, it was great. It was great in this instance.
Yeah. I can imagine Gotham's been built by really shady, suspect workers as well. Like, they'll be built by the mob.
Especially emphasis on cheat.
Yes.
I mean, that's how Batman knew that was going to work. He's like, oh, I know these walls can't hold crap, man. Like I've fallen off many a building because the friggin' the grappling hook just like the wall crumbled away as soon as I friggin' hit it.
Oh. And don't get him started on gargoyles.
This is Shrek's place. I had nothing to do with it, so I know it's not going to be perfect.
But I do love we got a shot here of Batman just sort of like standing and staring. Again,
yes,
and it's
yes. Very iconic.
It's almost like he's got a bit of that Star Trek, like the light across the eyes business going on.
Yes.
Like he had that like one scene in the last movie. It was in the Batcave, and it made sense there because it's like, well, he's in the dark, and this is the only source of light is this stream of light across his eyes. But this is like he's out in public, and it's like fully lit, and it's like, no, get a nice bit of get that Captain Kirk little strip across the eye there.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. It makes no sense, and it made no sense in Star Trek, but it's great. So I don't care that it makes no sense. And it reminds me as well. I said this last time, but I'm going to say it again. I don't care. It reminds me of Bela Lugosi in White Zombie.
Yes.
Because whenever he's weaving his magic, so to speak, it zooms in really close to his face, and you see his eyes, and they're lit almost exactly like that as well.
And I have to give it up to Keaton too, because he's really. It's not just the Keaton pout now. This is a full-on kind of grimace he's doing. Like those, that's a full-on like borderline Clint Eastwood kind of look he's got going on there.
Yeah, he looks really tough.
So yeah, that's from watching the first movie. He's like, nah, I need to up the ante with this, man. I need to like this guy look like he's really something this time.
Yeah, he's not having that kind of like smirk that he had when last villain, or before they transformed into somebody else, was trying to make small talk with them, tell them nice outfit. He had like kind of a smirk going on, but here he's just trying to keep that composure of just like, yeah, I know I just saved you, but I'm not gonna like say smile at you or try to be friendly or something. It's just kind of like, still like keep your distance.
Yeah, he's been grizzled now. He's a veteran. He knows how these things go. He doesn't want to talk to people and get close to them.
Yeah. But yeah, we get like a wondrous bit here. Oh, there is something wondrous. If not the knowledge, then this is wondrous. A bit of something that's sorely lacking in the original script of just a moment of silence, where like it's kind of awkward moment of like Selina and Batman just alone together, and she's clearly sort of like in awe of the fact that what he's done and the fact that it's Batman as well. And in fact, the fact there's no need for chit-chat. He's like, in this moment at least, that they can have a moment of just like, oh my god, like they just she can't even speak, and he's of course not going to speak because it's Batman. But of course, though, in the original Waters draft, Selina was nattering away at this point. And the original dialogue was because of this, in that version, Batman freaking does the old carpet trick in the guy, and then she comes back with cheap but effective. How are you with pies and banana peels? There's more of them coming around. Like the carpet, huh? A collector? Wow, the Batman. Or is it just Batman? You look a lot better in person. And and then Batman just goes, nice shoes, and walks away.
Nice shoes? And people complained about nice coat in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weirdly coincidental, because earlier today, I was watching Eyes Wide Shut. And the guy who friggin' Tom Cruise rents the costume to go to the ball in, it's the nice coat guy from Batman Begins.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was sitting for ages going like, I was like, who? That's probably like, oh, I know that guy. And then after a while, he was just like, yes, his cloak. I was like, oh, I know him. Like, that guy could sell any item of clothing to me. He's like, yeah, I like this jacket. But
really wish I could turn this into the Eyes Wide Shut minute for a little bit, but I'll go up on a tangent there. But, that's good. That's good there.
I really want someone to do that.
I'll probably sound like an idiot for my opinions about it, but I'm sure somebody will get something out of that, because that is a very decisive, like, I've been kind of getting through a little bit of Kubrick stuff lately, and I'm always like, do I want to get to this Eyes Wide Shut or not? But when I was like trying to watch a little bit of it, I was like, God, Nicole Kidman, you are really overplaying it here. But it's Kubrick. It's intended. It's supposed to be like that. But I'm just like, God, at this age, I'm just like, wow.
That's the thing, because they're having trouble. Well, not even having trouble. But we had Susan on from The Shining 237, and like she's going through The Shining, very iconic movie, deserving of minute-by-minute treatment. But she's doing 2 minutes 37.
That one, but yeah, I'd be more favorable. But anyway.
But it's but the fact that she's having to, like, because of so many long shots and whatnot, of like, oh yeah, it's just like it's a corridor, so she has to do it in longer chunks. But like Eyes Wide Shut would just be like, if you did that minute by minute, it'd be like, So we're in week 10 of Nicole Kidman talking, and it's the same shots, and it's the same lighting, and oh my god, like, this movie's near 3 hours long, you know, there's a lot of this stuff that, I know they cut 25 minutes, but they could have cut a lot more, but,
They should have cut a lot more.
But anywho.
Yeah, where's the 2 hour cut of that, like with The Shining, how that one's shortened down for European release.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that always upsets me though.
They took out one of the best scenes in it though, because I only saw the uncut version, like when I was in my 20s, and there's the great scene of Wendy coming in with Danny when he's in the bedroom, and he's just like, he's been taken over by Tony, and he's just like, oh, Danny can't wake up, Mrs. Torrance, and all. Really, really creepy. Not in the version I grew up with. I was like, this scene's great. Why would you cut this? But oh well. We're calling out Kubrick here today. That's it. We're abandoning the show. It's all just laying into Kubrick and all the things he should have and shouldn't have done.
Like, oh, you got me interested now, because I'm like, oh, I thought in Europe you guys got like on Blu-ray, like if you watch the Blu-ray and stuff, it is the uncut version, and you don't have the European cut.
Nowadays, yeah, but back when we were like teenagers, no, it was still awkward.
And not on TV either. Like if you watch it on TV, you'll be like, yep, there's a scene missing here. Like a lot of it's stuff I can understand, like Wendy seeing all like the skeletons and stuff. Like, yeah, that's a bit silly. I can imagine cutting that. But a lot of great stuff though that's gone by the wayside, unfortunately. But anywho,
with regards to Batman, what is this look? What is this look that Batman gives here? Because he looks down at the crook there, the clown, and Selina's reaction is to kick him. Like, is that what Batman was trying to get her to do? Like, what was he trying to motion to her?
Just a little, I don't know. It is like, again, this is another big reason why I like this movie, like this stuff. I just love looks and stuff where it's just like, with that one, it's I don't know. I guess it's a little bit of, with Batman kind of looking down at that look and stuff. It's just like, yeah, I took care of that, didn't I? And then I think she's just kind of adding her little punch to it by like, yeah, take that, or yeah. Just you see that, yeah,
yeah, finish him.
There is a kind of question though, like, because as we pointed out there in the last minute, there's another clown with a machine gun running around, but he's taken a moment to be like, hey. And it's weird because you think it'd be like, right, I'm out of here. Like I've no time for love, Dr. Jones. Like I'm friggin', I'm on this. Yeah. But no, he does have a like he's almost trying to, I don't know if what is his thing here. Maybe it is just because he's just kind of giving her a second to make sure, like, is she okay? Did she get hit by that thing at any level? Is she all right? She's fine. And then like once he starts chatting, it's like, oh no, it's I can see she's not gone into the Dan Waters friggin' Gilmore Girls level of dialogue that he had written.
God, yeah.
But she is talking and she's coherent, so like, yeah, she's fine. And then he goes about his business. I guess maybe that what it could be, or you never know. It could be that, like, because we know that later on Bruce Wayne is, he's attracted to Selina Kyle. He gets into a relationship with her. Maybe he is having a moment of like, oh, is it this one? Yeah, she's attractive.
I don't think Batman goes around checking out women he's saving.
You don't know. You're not Batman, man.
She does speak here as well, of course, because she says, wow, the Batman. Now, I like two things with this, because I know, Niall, you love anytime he's called the Batman. So that's great. But also, as we've previously mentioned, they've removed all of that stuff about the merchandise, the Bat merchandise. But this confirms to us that he is now famous to the man or woman on the street.
Oh, totally. That's the thing, though, because in her delivery, though, because as you read it on the script, it does come across as like she's calling him, like, yeah, the Batman. But the way she's saying it, it's almost like she's adding it as a title. Like, it's like, oh, the Batman. Like, not one of those fake Batmans. Like, you're the Batman. Or is it just Batman? Whereas I think if I had been personally me delivering the line, I would have been like, wow, the Batman. But like, that's it. But still,
he's the Batman, the famous Batman.
Yes, the genuine article.
but yeah, it's Michelle Pfeiffer. I had one problem with her performance in an earlier minute, but the rest of this movie, she's on top form, so I'm not going to nitpick her acting. That's her choice, and it works fine.
Yeah. If it was Anne Hathaway playing this part, she would have been doing all that Gilmore Girls dialogue before.
Yeah, it definitely would have stayed in.
But I do like the fact that we get a little bit of it's Selina almost trying to, the fact she's trying to be a bit like friendly with him because it's a real like, oh, we're friends now. So it's like, or is it just Batman? Like, trying to do a little bit like, hey, it's an olive branch of friendliness. And of course, Batman is just sort of like backing away slowly, and then just marches off as is his wont.
Yes, this is why I picked this particular minute and stuff. This is very relatable. So when I was 3 years old watching this and stuff, I was like, oh, that's great. So when you don't need to say anything or don't have anything important to say to the person, just walk off, because in the script he was supposed to say like gotta go or something like that. So again, Keaton strikes again where he's like, nope, not gonna say that.
That's it really came up heavily. I can't remember if we talked about it in the show at any point, but like in Justice League, there's a really appalling moment where like after spoilers, Superman's back in Justice League. They resurrect him.
What?
And after he comes back, he's like kind of talking to Batman briefly, and I can't remember the exact line he says to him, but he's just like, well, I know you didn't bring me back because you like me, and then he flies away, and then Batman's kind of like stumbling, going, I don't not, and it's like, what? And it's such a, this is Josh Whedon. This is a Josh Whedon line. You can see it coming a mile away, and it's like, Josh, comics, this character. Batman would never say that. And it's like, if you have to write any lines of dialogue for Batman and you don't know what to have him say, just have him say nothing. That's all you need to do. Like, if that scene had happened and he did that and all Batman did was kind of go, like, just give him like a little, like an eye, like, not cringe, what do you call it? Like an eye, a squint or something. Like Kevin Conroy, you imagine it, like his Batman would just be like, And like, he might even give him like a little nod of acknowledgement or something like that. But he would never go like stammering like, I don't not like you, Superman. And it's like,
yeah, that takes away his power.
But that's just that, yeah. But
the thing is, I enjoyed a lot of Justice League, but that was one scene I was like, no. I cannot. I'll defend the fact that it's like a big, stupid Saturday morning cartoon, and that's what they were going for. But that's just awful, because the actual Saturday morning cartoons would have known what to do in that situation.
And can I be a hypocrite now, right? I like this bit here where Selina just starts chatting away to herself. It feels justified in this situation, unlike the Penguin doing it. This feels like, she's a nervous, awkward woman. She's just had an awful fright, almost maybe died. Her nerves are all over the place. That makes sense. She's going to start talking. And it also felt very comic book to me. Like, the way in comic books, they do just have whole paragraphs of themselves.
Yeah, that's such a thing of like, you can't really. A lot of people will say you can never really translate comics over the screen properly because comics are so dependent on thought bubbles. Like, they got The Dark Knight Returns. It's like friggin' every page has got Bruce Wayne's inner monologue. So when people are like, oh, you have to adapt it for the big screen, it's like, you're going to miss out unless you have the voiceover constantly going. You're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. But,
like a noir, like a film noir voiceover.
Yeah. Well,
which worked so well for Blade Runner.
Well, to be fair, you wonder though, it probably wouldn't have. If Harrison Ford had at least tried to do that properly, would it have been better, or would it have been just like, nah, there's no way you can salvage this?
Well, when you got dialogue, like when they give you a page that says, sushi, that's what my wife reminded me of, dead fish. So it's like, how else do say it like Han Solo would say it. It's like, no, he wouldn't say that.
But yeah, we do get the chatty bit of Selina Kyle here. I don't know why, because it reminds me, it's very sitcom-y to me as well. Not in a bad way, but it does seem like this is like the Sex and the City version of Selina Kyle. Like, they're kind of, this is the sort of thing that like Carrie Bradshaw will be coming out with. Had she been in this situation? I say that like I'm no expert on Sex and the City by any means, but
well, other than that podcast you have about
of course, yeah.
Of course. But I mean, she does actually say a line, that you might get in that, really, because she starts ranting about only ever having brief encounters with men.
That's like all the other men in my life. What men? And all that's like, yep, this is total Sex and the City material. We're starting to see the development of Selina's character here, though, because what we saw of her earlier, though, was sort of a very timid, easily shaken woman up in Shrek's office. And then like now we're getting to see like, oh, she has a bit more, there's a bit of a sassiness to her when she's by herself, pretty much. Because even when we saw her by herself previously, she was just trying to remember what she needed to do for Max Shrek. So we're finally getting to see like a little bit of the development.
She just needs a little knock on the head in order to fully get it out.
Yeah. Of course, Selina Kyle, as a character, the kind of the timid, easily shaken version was not the version people would know from the comics and like the old TV show and stuff. Because Catwoman, much like Batman, character really developed over time. Right. I think it was like
she didn't really have that much of an origin anyway. Or are they tacked on one later? Yeah, but like when she first appeared, it was like, oh, you're just the Catwoman and you're committing crimes and you're doing all this stuff. Like there was no like set origin or anything for that until like later on.
Yeah, I think it was a good 10. It was like she's introduced as just the cat in 1940.
That's right. Yeah,
in Batman 1, and then it was in Batman 62, 10 years later. In the December 1950, where they finally mentioned, oh yeah, she's called Selina Kyle, by the way. Like, oh, we've got to give this character another name. But we'll get into we're kind of holding off on a lot more of the Catwoman info until we actually get Catwoman on screen instead of Selina Kyle. So
is Catwoman in this movie? I didn't realize.
It's like we had to do it like the whole last movie when Jack Napier was there. But there's always that thing of like when Jack Napier is on screen, it's like can't talk about Joker stuff. And then we had guests coming on who had all this Joker info. We're like, the Joker's not on screen yet because they have to wait until he gets here.
I like what Selina says here as well, though, because of course she said, what men, and then again, there's you. But you need therapy.
Being picky.
I want to see an alternate reality where this guy cleans up his act and comes back and asks her out.
That's like in other worlds. Like, oh yeah, I wonder whatever happened to maybe like he actually goes and becomes Bobby Six Killer after this, and then Selina Kyle helps out Renegade as well, and it's a whole big alternate.
Yes,
I'll totally buy that. I'll go sign up for that shit. But should also mention as well that in praise of Michelle Pfeiffer, she was actually brought in at the last minute because when I brought up it's appropriate that you're here, Dan, to mention this because originally was cast as Annette Bening from people know Annette Bening from like The Grifters, and she was obviously Kevin Spacey's wife in American Beauty, which is one of the film I know John pathologically despises. So
I really don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of it to really get a full deal on it, but yeah, I am aware of just like there are people that are just like, this one Best Picture
baffles me.
I think it was you don't know John though, Dan. Like he'll surprise you with things that you like. Very easygoing guy, and all of a sudden they'd be like, I hate American Beauty. And just like, what the?
I've had a flame war with some people over La La Land, so I know exactly where you're getting.
I only found out like friggin' was a couple of weeks back. Apparently, John really, really hates Gene Wilder, which was just like what?
Yes.
Like properly, like, and even
you crossed the line.
When I was told this, like even like we're like John's girlfriend, like Lauren, she was there, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, he showed me Young Frankenstein one time, just to point out how awful he was." I was like, I've known this guy for like 10 years. How have I not known until like this month that he hates Gene Wilder?
I made her watch about 25 minutes of that movie, just going, "Look how terrible it is." Look.
I just imagine like her coming home from work and you just like pacing around, just like, I just got reminded of him. I'm gonna have to go and pray. Look, just watch this damn movie.
See, this sounds like a totally me thing, but it wouldn't be with Gene Wilder.
We all have our quirks.
Yes.
But of course, the Annette Bening though had to drop out because she was pregnant. She became pregnant with with a child, obviously. But Annette Bening, of course, has been married to since 92 to Warren Beatty, who of course is the star of Dick Tracy, who was the subject of the upcoming Dick Tracy Minute that Dan's doing. So that's a nice little tie in there. So I guess you could blame, if you wanted Annette Bening as Catwoman, blame Warren Beatty because he's the one who impregnated her. So I guess it takes two to tango and all that, but like it's his seed. But
I can't picture her. Maybe it's just because of how great this movie ended up being. I can't picture her as Catwoman.
I think this is like for me. Like we said this before, like because there's other movies that I would associate like Danny DeVito with, Like if we say Dan DeVito, but like, oh yeah, It's Always Sunny, or like Twins, or something like that, and it'll be like, oh yeah, he's the Penguin as well, or like Michael Keaton's like Beetlejuice. Yeah, no, Michael Keaton's the guy who played. Oh, he also played Batman as well. But when you say Michelle Pfeiffer, to me, it's like, oh, Catwoman. That's like it's a career best, and she's probably like the best, arguably the best performance in this movie as well. Like, you don't want to poo-poo on anyone else's cornflakes, but.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to play favorites, but it's just like everybody works together with it and stuff. You don't feel like nobody's slacking off or anything like that. But I've heard that even like Eartha Kitt was trying to persuade Tim to cast her again.
I would have loved a cameo in there somewhere from it.
Yeah, so we did talk about, Burgess Meredith was apparently supposed to be in for the Paul Rubens Tucker Cobblepot, but no, but I do prefer like the cold cut of just like, no, this is nothing to do with your sick. Like we have little kind of homages that like even I didn't even really sort of think of them as homages until we looked at it 1 minute at a time in the first movie. Like, oh yeah, I guess that could be a callback to that. But like it's very much like, no, you're not going to see. It's not Ghostbusters 2016 where it's like, oh look, there's Janine and there's friggin' Sigourney Weaver's at the end and stuff. Like it's very much like, no, this is a completely separated. This ain't your granddaddy's Batman kind of thing. So.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
I think, but again, if I saw like if they had Michael Keaton pop up in a Batman movie now, I'd just be like, I just wish that I wish Michael Keaton was still playing Batman in this.
Yeah, hypocrite. But Selina here reaches down and grabs the taser. She pockets it. But if I lived in this city, everything we've seen about Gotham, I would have had one of these anyway.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous place.
Well, I guess so. We could say that maybe Selina is like a newcomer to Gotham, though, because later on we do get a message from her mother, which is talking about not coming home for Christmas. So maybe she is like a naive sort of like, maybe even like a country girl, like coming in to make her way in the big city and stuff, and she's only been here like a couple of months, maybe.
That's the vibe I get from her, definitely.
Could be that's what happened there, but. Should mention though as well, like, it took me friggin' ages to see what it said, but on the taser, it's an Omega taser apparently.
Yeah.
Or apparently I found out because I looked into tasers. Apparently this strictly isn't a taser. This is a stun gun because a taser is actually the thing that projectiles the little things. Yeah,
those things that shoot out.
Yeah, because and that's I was for ages like, oh yeah, taser. I'm like, no. Apparently, this is just that was. Well, I've got the info on the taser here, I believe. That
the stun gun.
Yeah. Sorry, the stun. Oh my god, it's impossible not to slip up with this information. Yeah, no, but a taser was developed by a guy called Jack Cover in 1969, and it was actually named like much like laser. It's actually an acronym. I didn't realize that, but like because laser is like light application by simulated emission of radiation. So which I think, I was like, that's an interesting thing. But then apparently a taser. Well, I just thought it must be like something similar. No, it's named after a book by Victor Appleton called Tom Swift and His Electric Rifle, which would be so like, apparently that is and that boils down into taser if you. But yeah, then in '83 apparently they after. Tasers the classic taser was declared a firearm and whatnot because it actually is a projectile thing. They developed the stun gun, and of course then we get the Omega stun gun of Selina has here. I was wondering again because we've had a couple of biblical references so far. We had like all this
at least 3, isn't it?
Yeah, because the fact that Christmas is 33 years later. There's the Moses and the reeds and thing, and then this is like what you think of Omega. It's like, oh yeah, I am the Alpha and the Omega. And it's like, this is the beginning, arguably, of the development of Selina as Catwoman. Because you see a bit more of her, like, she's draws this guy with a taser now. She kind of gets a little, like, a little jolt out of it. And then we see this taser at the beginning, and we see it again at the end of Catwoman. So the taser is the beginning and the end of...
Oh my god, that was deep. Oh my god, that was fantastic. That's got to be right. There's no way that's just a coincidence.
I tried to double check and I was like, is Omega like a DC villain or something? Apparently, there is a DC villain called Omega, but he's a Superboy villain who featured in like one thing. And I was like, nah, he's not come back since like the 50s or something. So, but
that's some memory you've got there.
So yeah, is this actually a stun gun that you can buy? Or like, is Omega like a real?
I don't know. Imagine they must have. I don't know if it was like a sponsorship deal where they're like, we've got the Happy Meals, we've got the stun guns now.
Well, there is a company called Omega who make stun guns. So I'm not sure if it's exactly the same as ones they produced, but it's the same logo on it there.
Oh,
so I think that is a genuine Omega. Yeah.
Oh my god, that actually is a bit of product placement then. I was like, but get yourself an Omega taser. You too can friggin' apparently burn a millionaire to a friggin' skeletal husk with a taser.
Well, there's other stuff behind there, to be fair, you know.
That's a misunderstanding, Dan. That was all the taser. That wasn't anything else in that scene. It was strictly.
Well, this is ooh. Okay. I'll give you one on that one.
But the thing is, because the word Omega though always fascinates me, because I always remember it from like the old Doctor Who, where they couldn't pronounce it properly, because there's a Doctor Who villain called Omega, but they always call him Omega. And it's I think it's like Patrick Troughton always calling him Omega. And I was like, they freaking hanging about with hanging about with like John Travolta or something, like, oh Doctor, there's a new villain coming along. Oh my god!
Oh my god! With regards to this stun gun again, I did try and find out the exact model.
Yes.
Which I couldn't. I should have used my usual research and looked on the firearms database. I didn't class it as a firearm, though, so I didn't think of looking there, I'll be honest. The closest model I could find that they currently produce, it looks almost exactly the same, so it's got to be similar, surely, is the Omega Super Stunner. It's 150,000 volts. And let's see, it says it is the most powerful, reliable, and best engineered handheld stun gun on the market. Jesus. I'm sure they would say that, though.
Yeah. Christ, that sounds like you could friggin' kill Max Shrek with that thing.
That sounds like a lot of volts.
Yeah, that sounds like you'd be terrified to carry that around in case it went off in your pocket or something.
Yeah, I mean, they make a lot of products there. They have stun batons, which look like incredible. I just want one as an ornament in my house. It looks amazing. There's one called the Star Warrior. It's like a giant baton, like you can just smash people with and electrocute them. It's 18 inches long.
Man, I go to Amazon and they're currently unavailable.
No. I think you have to buy them directly from the website.
You seem to have looked way too much into this, John. Like, I'm kind of like worried. It's like,
well, do you want to know how much it costs? I have a price.
Oh, by all means, by all means.
It's in American dollars, it's $79.95.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's reasonable.
Quite reasonable, I would think.
Yeah, that's gonna make a couple of hundred or something. But
no, I could afford that, and I'm broke.
But yeah, we do get Selina. I do love seeing her through the snow encrusted spectacles here, trying to.
Yeah, snow in quotes.
Yeah, and she decides to give it a little test on Bobby Six Killer here, and it gives him a little jab in the side. And there's actually, if you watch any sort of behind the scenes documentaries and stuff on this movie, there's actually a deleted bit of dialogue that was definitely recorded, because it's featured in a lot of them, where she says, what's like, electric, because she says here, but you need a therapy, and then she jabs him and then goes, electroshock therapy, what a bargain. And I was like, oh,
that's a good line.
That's not bad. It's better than a lot of stuff that was in the original script anyway. But
well, I like it for two reasons. Right. Well, one, I like that she electrocutes him anyway, because it shows a bit of her mischievous side that is going to become a big thing soon, shall we say, without spoiling anything. It's going to blossom. And I think that line also kind of shows that, because she comes out later on in the movie, for whatever reason, with lots of fun little quips.
Yeah.
And that would show that that's dormant in her already.
Yeah. And there is like even in her actions as he's electrocuted him, she has it's almost sort of, puts her hand to her mouth, and she has this little it's a little bit of excitement and a little bit of joy of like, oh, that was fun. And and she knows it's wrong, but it's just like, oh, it was bad, but I liked it, and that kind of that kind of element. So, but yeah, it's just another nice little note for the characterization of this version of Selina Kyle. Anyway, But yeah, I think that's pretty much the action for this minute, isn't it? Really,
it is indeed. Yeah, I'm out of notes.
Yeah, I'm noted out too. Dan, have you got anything else about this particular minute?
I guess I could talk on and on about like how great this characterization of Selina Kyle was compared to like I hate to be playing compare this to that, but I'm just like one of my problems with Dark Knight Rises was that I was just like just this the portrayal of what they did with Selina Kyle and Catwoman, especially how it ended up together, wasn't. There's just something about like those two ending up together. You're just like, that is way too hopeful and unrealistic.
They shouldn't, in a way, like that. It's like it's wrong. It might feel right to them, but it's not right. They shouldn't hook up.
I think it's more the fact, like her version of Selina Kyle. It's not a knock on Anne Hathaway. I think it's more just the script is like she's not very memorable. She doesn't do anything all that exciting beyond, she portrays Batman and delivers him to Bane, and then he forgives her for whatever reason. But there's just not many sort of stand-up moments for her though, beyond like they got that cute little thing where she has the goggles that turn into the cat ears. Like, that's clever, and it's like it's kind of was like they blew their wad with like, how do we make the Joker great? And it's like, oh my god, we did such a good job with this really classic villain. What are we gonna do for the next one? And it's like, well, Tom Hardy's working on this funny voice. That'll at least make him memorable. But like, what's Anne Hathaway gonna do? Nothing. We got nothing. There's no particular standout moments for her, really.
Well, great. Yeah.
I'm sure other people though will come out and be like, Anne Hathaway's the best version of Selina Kyle you're ever going to get, et cetera, et cetera.
I thought she was fine, but like, not exciting.
Yeah. There's just no. Like barely beyond her general appearance, I can scarcely tell you a line of dialogue that she says in that movie because it's not particularly all that memorable.
Right, yeah, just stuff you don't even want to like remember. Like, my mom told me never to get in cars with strangers. So then, this isn't a car and stuff, and you're just like, oh no, you're like you want it to be like a good like almost like cat and mouse type of thing between those two. Like, oh, you almost caught me, but you didn't, and then just whatever they did there. It just I hate to compare it to this. I know people give me flack for it, but I'm just like, yeah, you really threw this character in there, didn't you? Just like what you did with Venom in Spider-Man 3. That's how it always felt like to me.
Yeah, but again, I'm sure because we'll probably have the guys doing the Dark Knight minutes on down the line. Maybe they had a completely different view of that version of the character, but
just as valid.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I'm done. I'm done here. If you guys are.
I am indeed. So before we head off into the Dark Knight, do you have anything else you'd like to promote, Dan? Or do you want to remain a mystery man?
Oh, yeah. Listen to the first one and hear what I plugged there. But yeah, I'm good, but yes.
But yes, in the interim, you can chat to us on our Facebook, the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, or send us a tweet. That's always fun. Niall's been dominating the Twitter lately. I've taken a backseat on that, which I need to get back into the Twitter.
I don't know, people don't realize that like me and John have been fighting over control for that Twitter for ages, and I've finally beaten him into submission.
we keep changing the passwords on each other, and it's not working. But do talk to us. It's always fun, always a lark. And join us again on Friday to round out the week with more Bat Minute Returns. Next time, a great escape. After restoring the city to the order that was, a truculent Templar is talked to by the fuzz. But now the urban anarchy has been settled with ease. What will become of Gotham's stinkiest big cheese? Find out Friday, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.